So at this point, you have your files in a GitHub project. Mine actually ended up in this project I called Basic Project. I got my Uptown Coffee. It's got all these files in here. So we want to actually publish this. To do so, we need to go to Settings. You need to make sure it is a public project. In general, if you scroll to the bottom, there's this danger zone, and you want to make sure it's public. If it's not public, then make it public. One thing to note about public repositories is that anyone can see them. I can go on your GitHub and look at all of your public repositories, which isn't necessarily a bad thing unless you have like personal information or stuff you don't want on the internet in your repos, like passwords or credit card information. Like if you were uploading those in your project for whatever reason, you definitely want it to be private. Since the code we've been writing is just practice and stuff, I'm not worried about someone stealing this. It's open source, they're free to use it. So if you don't pay for GitHub's premium stuff, you have to make a public in order to publish your website. So now mine is public. I'll go to Pages down here. And we're going to click Deploy from a Branch. It's going to ask us for main and root here. And you can go ahead and initialize that. Let's see. So I just want to make sure if I click root and click save, it should be working there. But in order for this to work, we need actually to give it a file it knows where to find. It is going to look in the root folder, which is basically the farthest folder out in your repository. So right now it is going to be looking in this first website project folder. Unfortunately, all our files are in this nested Uptown Coffee or whatever you called it folder. And I haven't found a way in GitHub to get around deploying from a nested folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all these files, hold down Shift, and drag them outside. So I'm going to move them all here. So now they are outside of this Uptown Coffee folder. That includes the images folder. So now the images folder is at the root level. And once they're all here, we need to make one more change. Our homepage.html, we need to rename as index. It's going to look for a file called index. Unfortunately, that means all the links with homepage are going to break. So I need to change them to index. So you have 4 spots to do this. You need to do it in the contact us. You need to do it in the menu. And what's our last one? The about. Because whenever we change a name, we change the link's name as well. So I moved everything outside, I created an index file, and I changed my references to that index file. That's going to create a bunch of changes. We need to deploy them. Renaming to index. We're going to commit. Save all and commit. And we're going to sync the changes. That means we're going to push them up to our GitHub repo. Okay. And now let's check it out. Let's go back here. And now that we have saved to the main and the root folder, and all our files are now in the root folder, including the index file, it is going to start to make that website. You might see it take a while. It sometimes often does, but if you click visit website, okay, we're getting a 404. Let's see, we must provide a index.file. I think it is because for me, I called mine basic project because I had too many of these things called first website project. So I'm going to pause right real quick and change that. And once I got that successfully worked out, we should see our websites live. You can notice that you can click through them. Everything should be working. We have the index here, and you can share this URL. If it's public, other people can access it. And it will have your username.github.io there. If you wanted to do your own custom domain, you could do it here. You would have to pay for that yourselves. So hopefully you're able to follow along with some of these steps. I know mine was kind of misconfigured a little bit. But basically we want to move our files to the parent root directory here, rename to index, push it, make sure your website is public, save, deploy from a branch, do main and root, and you should get your website up and running.